Start all over, take a new beginning. There's too much pain, there's too much suffering. Start all over, every new beginning. Don't get me wrong, I like to live in. Look around and everything that's going down. It's all wrong. See, we need to change it down. This world with you, happy ending. Like start all over, make a new beginning. Starting all over. Start all over. Start all over. Start all over. The world is broken, the fragments and pieces. Thank you for that. That's my partner. Namgal, appreciate it. All right, we're going to get into a lot of things today. I know there's so many things going on in the world, but where do we start? What topic do you want to really hear? Most people are happy living in the illusion dream world, which I'm trying to explain is not going to help anybody get anywhere. All right, I'm just saying hi to everybody in the chat room. Any questions, please go in the chat room, put them in there. Text me if you're listening to this later at hawksblood1@aol.com. I reply to all my messages, everything that comes to me. Even I talk to people on Skype if people rather talk, which I'd rather do. All right, well, let's try to get into this a little bit. Starting with dreams and dreaming. Do you know the difference and what they really are and why we have them? Well, you should. I'm not going to go into it. That's something you should have already figured out by now. But what about truth? Do you want the truth or you want to believe in a fantasy? You always have the option. And most people rather take the option of believing in a fantasy. What truth? It's there. All right. Whether you can find it or not, that's a different story, but it's right in front of your face. Now, I'm going to go into a couple little things. I call it earthly local news, meaning things that are happening on planet Earth. How do we make the world a better place? Do you have a clue? Do you have an idea? Why is everyone looking for truth in all the wrong places? Thinking aliens can help us? Really? Religion? Man-made ideas of God? How about man's ego? Thinking they are God? That's a serious problem. Can any of this help a person find the truth? Oh, well, let's listen to the storytellers. The storytellers have always been here. In a native nation, they get certain people to become storytellers for the children. On a reservation and places like that, they live a little different than most people do on the outside. They don't have the same kind of entertainment, or they didn't have the same kind of entertainment. They were protected in more ways than one, except storytellers create a great story from parts of truth. And it becomes exaggerated, which means it's not true. I can go into the stories, but every tribe creates certain things to help the people survive and work with each other and try to get them to get along with each other, which we're not doing anyway. Oh, sure, you hear more people doing this, more people doing that, because there's more and more people coming to the planet. There's 7.4 billion people here. And what did they say? In 25 years, we'll be at close to 10. And that would be the destruction or the complete change of reality when that number is reached. So I really don't think we're ever going to get to it, because the reality is not going to change to a better way, as long as man perceives what they are perceiving as truth and overlooking the lies, which is the truth. Well, I want to get into that because people need to understand how to translate that. Who do you go for your truth? Who do you get to listen to? All the whistleblowers out there? I mean, I'm friends with most of the people out there, and I'm sorry I don't agree with any of them. I'm hardcore. I'm a realist, meaning I live my truth by what I experience and what I know and prove to myself as reality. You can say it's my truth, and you have your truth. Did you prove your truth to yourself? Everybody goes, well, I got my truth. Yeah, you are programmed to believe something. Did you have a death experience? Did you meet with a being? Can you prove it to yourself even? Do you have witnesses for any of the so-called things that happen? Experiences, abductees, all those words. They're real, some of them. Not all things are real. Thoughts are real in one reality, but they don't affect us in this reality unless we allow it to happen or cause it to happen. Why do we have psychics, mediums, healers? To brainwash people, to convince people of things. Now, everybody's psychic at some level. But to say you're a psychic and you can predict things, it's easy to predict certain things. An average couple, yeah, they're going to have children sometime in the future. Oh, yes, they might not stay together. And that's easy to predict because 90% of them will not stay together, and many of them will have children. Now, the mediums, I worked with one of the top mediums when I was young for years. We were really close. We used to do it about 3 or 4 days a week. We channeled, well, she channeled, and I spoke and worked with them. All kinds of people and beings that have been here and left. All right. And we proved everything that she said or came up with when she was channeling. Whether it was a Viking 14 years old that always used to hang out with me and want to who killed one of the Rolling Stones. I mean, we came up with facts. Nobody wanted to hear it. Nobody believed much of it. And little bits of that are only coming out now. But then we have angels. Everybody wants to talk and work with an angel. You have a bad dream, it's the devil. It's a good dream, it's an angel. But that's still the mind creating images of what we have programmed to believe about certain things. Do you have any idea what an angel really looks like? Well, in your subconscious mind, you have an idea because you created it. But what angels, who they really are, what they really are, and what they really look like. It's not people can draw it any way they want. Somebody could draw me that never saw me, and they'll draw an image of me. Will it be anything like me? Of course not. Images that are drawn come from the mind, and then people that have visions are a little closer if it's a real one. And there's so many things that interfere with that. I'm going to get into everything, and I hope you can follow through. My mind goes 1,000 miles a minute, and it mixes things together. Everything fits together. Well, it doesn't matter. Everything goes together. Everything in reality is a piece of a puzzle that all fits together if you put it together in the right direction, right way, and find the right pieces. All right, now there's people that claim multiple things. I'm going to go over a few of them real fast. People that say they're super powered, super this, or the greatest that. I'm dealing with one person that calls him the greatest mystic on the planet. The greatest mystic on the planet. What's that mean? He believes he knows everything about death, everything about life, everything about reincarnation, can stop and change time. Really? All right, you got people that claim things incredible. A person claims to have the Ark of the Covenant, and he's raising millions of dollars so he can make that linked up to the one that the government has. And he's supposed to be a top genius scientist. So we can go different ways with this idea of who and where we're going to get our information from. Science creates things, but what are they really creating them for? To make the world a better place, to make it easier for people. People rather have things made easier for themselves. Instead of me doing it, let a robot do it. Let a machine do it. Why do I have to do it? And I just got to make sure that the machine keeps doing it. That's the way people think and want to be. It's not about being active themselves. Jacques Cousteau, who I consider one of the top people in his field, before he died, did a special, and he talked about it in the very end. He says, the future is going to be a little satellite, and it's going to be a head inside it. That's all you're going to need, because your head and voice, mind, will just tell everything what to do and what it should be and what should go on. And it's eliminating the aspect of who and what we really are in this reality. Why would you need a body? If we don't need a body, we don't even need to be here, do we? Do we need anything to be done on this planet if we don't need to interact with it? Do we need farmers farming if we're not going to eat? Of course not. Do we need fishermen to go fishing if people aren't going to eat fish? I mean, do we need cars if we're not going to drive? See, we create the scenario that we believe is important, and we increase the speed of the things, like traveling has to be faster. Then that's not good enough for people. We want to go faster than that. And the other thing is now, well, I want to change time. I want to go back in time. I want to go forwards in time. You play with that, you destroy the reality of the present. And I work with a particular person that was involved with that, was the only person I truly believe that went back and forward in time. Al Bielek. All right. He was the one that was involved with the Philadelphia experiment, got involved with the Montauk Project. Then now Preston Nichols got involved, and a whole bunch of people got involved. But I can go into that. It's an incredible story, but it gets twisted, not because of Al Bielek, because he died. He told me when he was going to die, and he died right when they said he was going to die. He said he was going to die. But he was involved with a time frequency because he went back in time, changed it, and they couldn't do anything to him until a certain time was attained. But I want to go into that. We can play with things, and when we do, we only make things worse. I'll tell you this. He was offered $4 million to go back in time to kill somebody. Whether he did or didn't, I'm not going to say anything about it, but that's what he was offered. All right? You kill somebody in the past, you change reality in the future in many ways. Even if it's just one person. That person could have had a family. Those kids could have had multiple families, and there could have been a whole new generation of people here. So every little thing that gets changed in the past can change rapidly in the future of everything that's happening. Now, we got people coming here from all over, inner, outer, dimensional, whatever words you want to use. People saying they're from another planet. Okay, so you are. I'm not going to say a particular name. Venusians. Okay, what's a Venusian? The one that supposedly went to the White House and dealt with the president? Do we want to follow that? Do we want to follow the stories? If it did happen, what does it really mean to us? The bottom line of what I'm going to get through when I'm going through all this is, what is it going to do for you? Is it going to help you in your lifetime, which is 125 years max, and you're not even going to get close to that? But if you try, you're only going to see all your families die. But outside of that, what do you want to do in life that's important? Everybody thinks they are important, and everybody else is trying to tell you you're important. To who? To your own ego? To the world? Well, I invented a machine that makes cars. Really? Do we need more cars on the road? What happened to horses? Horses were pretty well, except I don't like it where I am. I want to get to the other side of the world. You know, the old saying, I like what's on the other side of the fence. Oh, when you can get on the other side of the fence, you want to know what's on the other side of the world. And it's not better. Other countries are 10 times worse than we are. Do people understand that? Most people in the UFO world, the spiritual world, don't understand there's 7.4 billion people on the planet. 85 to 90% are poor, homeless. And if that's not a sickening, disgusting, ignorant number, I don't know what's wrong with people if they don't understand that. Oh, well, we're changing the world. What? 5%? 2%? 1%? How many people are into UFOs? How many people into certain religions? Christianity has 2.4 billion people. Muslims has 2 billion people. So that's where people believe and follow that specific programmed truth. Now, in the UFO world, there's a lot of speakers out there now, all claiming things. Been on ships, been with alien races, saw many things. So what? Is it going to help you? Well, now the big thing is disclosure. What is so important about disclosure? Oh, it's going to happen. It's happening now. All the information comes out. Even the big report they were waiting for was pages and pages, but it never even mentioned the word alien. So I guess that didn't do much for the UFO world. But then again, somebody could have wrote alien in there. The alien autopsy, which happened many years ago, there was three of them. I think two of them were actually on TV. People are trying to prove that they're real now. Trying to prove something's real 50 years later is pretty ridiculous. If you couldn't prove it was real when it happened, why do you think you're going to prove it 50 years from now? Because of DNA? Because of what? Technology, science? Science has no clue to real history. I don't care what you hear, what you believe, what school you went to, what degree you attained. Oh, this is dated. Dated to what? You have to have something from something to date it to that. They can't date or prove anything about DNA because they don't have aliens to check their DNA to compare it with. The same as Bigfoot has, they have about 24,000 samples of hair. And they say not one of them can be related to a Bigfoot. How do you relate it to something you don't have? Most of it, they say, is a bear. Well, maybe Bigfoot has bear hair DNA. What's the big deal with that? Oh, no. Even the hair they brought back from Tibet, which was, they have the Yeti there, and the Tibetan people have it. And a long time ago, famous people had the finger, and they were bringing it back to customs, and it never got through. But recently, they let them take a small sample, and they came back and tested it, and they said it was black bear when they're supposed to have brown bear there. So even that's wrong. Well, one black bear got there, and they saw it, and they worshipped it and idolized it. Really? History is programmed to an idea that, well, this rock's how old? And you go down certain levels. Well, this happens in 10 years. Like a tree has rings telling you how many years old it is. And if you count the rings, that's how many years old it is. Plain and simple. But you got a rock cut in half. It doesn't say I'm 10 years old, 20 years, 10,000 years old. I want to bring that up because I got really important information, which I plan on bringing a guest on soon about it. And it's about the reason why the Mayans and the Aztecs disappeared. What was really going on? Now, see, people don't want to hear the truth. And it's kind of like a useless cause, but I don't know how many more years I want to be here. Not very many. There's no reason to. But I'm going to have a partner. I love her and I care about her and what's going to happen. But for me, what is beneficial about being here? Seeing mankind do what? More children are being programmed, abused, sold into slavery, sex slaves, you name it. Is that where we're supposed to go? I don't even care if you believe in a God. What do you believe in? Nothing. If you don't believe in a God, there's nothing that you have to be responsible to. If you were responsible to God, then you have a responsibility. But if you're responsible to yourself, there is no responsibility. And since man wants total freedom, means, guess what? I don't have to follow any laws. The 10 Commandments were only 10 simple laws that man couldn't live by, not even Moses. And in his own ignorance, he creates 613 more. Man is pathetic. Sorry to say I'm in a man's body. I was a female in one lifetime, and that was one of my most important lifetimes in all my lifetimes I had. I'll get into that a little bit later. All right. Looking for things in the wrong places. Looking in space. What's happening in other universes? There's other worlds out there. But do you think they want you to come there? For what reason? We are sick on this planet. We create diseases. We create horrible things. Do horrible things. You think other worlds might need that? Or we're going to only send the good people to those planets? So if you think of that way, think of why any alien race would send good and bad people to planet Earth. Well, they're good aliens. Oh, they're bad aliens. No, they're aliens and they all have a set agenda. And people seen in the UFO world don't even want to relate to the words. What is their agenda? And it's not to help man become spiritual because they don't work with the word spiritual. Neither do people on planet Earth. Oh, we're all spiritual. Who's spiritual? Name one spiritual person. I do not say I'm spiritual. I say I'm a realist. I live by my truth and I will die by it. But am I spiritual? I'll be spiritual when I leave and don't come back to planet Earth again. Then you're spiritual. Because you're not staying in this body, in the astral world and the physical world. You let go of that. You let go of the passions that keep you down here. All right. Local news. What's happening on the planet right now? Disclosure. And then we have to listen to all this stuff about presidency and stuff. We're going to go into that a little bit. But can this help people find the truth? If you listen to TV, can any of that help you find the truth? Well, this guy was swimming and this person shot him. Why would he shoot him swimming? Why would a guy break into a school and shoot kids? Why do these things happen? Well, we have to check their mentality. You know, guns are sold to people that they think are okay. Now they're going to make sure that crazy people don't get guns. But when is a person considered crazy? When they do something crazy, not before. When a young kid goes out and breaks into a house and he kills somebody. Oh, that's a good kid. He's my son. He never did anything wrong. He's an honest dude. Well, crazy is a man-made word as well. Crazy basically means you disagree with other people's way of thinking. And whatever you think is right, you do it. I'm not going to go into that in great detail because that's a whole reality within itself, because psychics have a word with that, and then you have the doctors and people that play with that as well. And they can say you're crazy or not crazy. But do they know what crazy is? Well, he thinks we talk to God and we can fly and all that. Can we? In what state? What frame? What aura do we create around ourselves that people see? Can people even see us? So we have this multiple realities we live within in this physical reality. And there's 3 dimensions here. Not the way they talk about it in science. We're in 3rd dimension, going into 4th dimension, and then we're going to go into 5th dimension and then 6th dimension. No, we live in multiple dimensions here. And it's like, I mean, there's a lot of stories based on the other side of this reality. Is the opposite reality, and that we live there too. And I mean, there's a lot of theories and ideas. But is any of it helpful for the human race to move forward? People talk and talk and talk. I'm just disgusted with it. I'm tired of it. I don't want to hear people tell false stories and make-believe stories, or stories that don't matter. So we're on Mars. So there's 10 races of aliens on the Mars. Are they helping us? Helping us what? What are they all eating on Mars? What's their favorite food? What kind of clothes do they wear? Where are they getting it? They're making clothes machines and worried about all those kind of things on Mars right now? Well, you know, you start with the planet Earth, the underground bases in the United States alone. What are they doing? What are they there for? People do not care. People are ignorant. People rather listen to a story about somebody going to Mars and playing with some alien, rather than understanding what's going on underneath their feet, how they travel around the inner worlds. The inner Earth, sorry, not the inner worlds. I should have said that. All right. But let's get into this in a little bit harder now. I'm hardcore. You're not going to find anybody on this planet that can keep even with me at any level. And I promise you that. Why? I had multiple experiences in lots of things. Not just the physical world, not just the astral world, not just the mental or archaic worlds, 4th, 5th worlds. I didn't just see a deity. I worked with the deity. And I don't know too many people that can talk about it and explain it and really have done it. I was with the Tibet master, when I started working with one directly. And I could go into that. That's a whole different story. But I know people aren't ready to hear that. They like the idea of just praying to something and then just assuming that it's their higher self. Well, your higher self is nothing. It's only ego. You are what you are. You are part of your ego. You are part of what you believe. And you're a lot more as soul. But that part you'll never touch, with the part of the ego being there blocking it. Thinking it's a physical body in any way. Thinking it's important to be here. Thinking it's important to change this physical reality. No, it's important to leave this reality. It's like saying children in kindergarten should stay in kindergarten. How about they should move on, get into the higher grades? But see, school is another useless thing. Sorry, it's pretty hot in Hawaii, and it's that the moisture is extremely high than it has ever been. Uh, but outside of that, I love the heat more than most people here. Most people walk the street, oh, it's so hot, I can't deal with it. Uh, why come to Hawaii then? Go to Alaska. People put themselves in situations that aren't even right for themselves, and then they complain. You know, a lot of these new age speakers will say, well, you can create your reality. You can create some things. You can create your job you get by looking for another one and changing it, going to classes to learn whatever that is that you want to do. And there's ways to create it. It's not like you take a magic stone, throw it up in the air, and it turns into what you want. So the idea that psychic people have the abilities, they have the ability to work with a person's own energy. That's all they have. They're not God. They're not angels. They're not super beings, whether they claim to be or not. Now, in the Native Nation, they have the storytellers, which I was trying to get into. These storytellers tell children great stories to entertain them. It's just like people in the United States teach their children about Santa Claus, the Easter Bunny, the Boogeyman. Stories. Are any of them real? And then it gets created in the reality of some of it has to be real. You know, erase all that and then tell a child that God's real. Why? Why is God real and all those things aren't? How do I know God's real? And they have no proof, no way to teach a child what God is. They don't even know what God is. And they're trying to tell the child that it's real. Sorry, people, you follow people with no truth. Do I have all of it? I have all the truth that a person needs to get out of this realm, to get into the higher realms. That I can tell you, I promise you. But as far as dealing with humans, it's hard. They're egotistical. Ego is like, well, do I know everything? I know what I know. You can listen or not. You can believe it or not, but you can prove what I tell you is real. And you have to do the work to do that, but you can. If I tell you you can get out of your body, you have to realize that you can and then try to work to do that. You do not understand much at all until you do. I go over this a lot. Why children do the spinning and stuff like that. It all has to do with leaving the body. And that's the starting point for a child. Is when they do it, they realize they leave their body for one split second. Sure, they get sick and nauseous, but they do it for a reason. Soul does things in this body most of the time because it has to. Meaning, soul is separate than your mind. And I know Buddha taught many things, and that mind and everything, one consciousness. But again, if you want to be one conscious, why do you need to be here? If he's going to have sex and they're going to have sex or whatever, why not just all have sex together? I mean, one consciousness, you all do the same thing, everything, and it's all part of the same consciousness. So if everybody decides to become a murderer, that means you're a murderer consciousness? You want to believe that, that's your choice. But it only weakens the reality of making this world a better place. No alien race is going to help us. None of them. And I'll tell you this, I challenge everybody I can, but most people have no balls because they're not willing to stand for their own truth. I'm not going to say a person's name, but they claim to come from Venus. And the problem is when a person tells a story about somebody else that's not their experience is sad, because if somebody, and I'll defend Jesus to the end of my life, of who and what he was. He was never an alien. All right? But the people, well, he was an alien. Billy Myers tried to, in his book that he said he found, which was the story of, it's all lies, the town of Jamad. And it's based on saying Jesus was an alien, which is a lie. But he found it, and he's working with aliens. So you don't think they created this for him to find? But that's because the same year, somebody else found the two manuscripts of Judas. It was in pieces. And the guy was trying to get millions of dollars for it. And then this person bought it for a lot of money and took 2 years to put all the pieces together. What is the true story, as best you can, of Judas? But people don't want to put anything new in their brain especially when that programmed idea is programmed to stay there. We can get into that because my book, my newest book, The True Teachings of Jesus from God Realization, is the most important thing a person could read about Jesus, if they're a Christian or not. He wasn't an alien, and he didn't create a religion. He wasn't here to create a religion. He was here to teach about God. Nobody else in history taught about a real God. Start with the first religions. They were dealing with deities. They were called gods. I call them little gods. And they're the gods of the different realms in the lower realm. Once you go past the soul plane, where soul lets go of itself in its reality of what it is, then it's by itself. And God doesn't let too many souls go there or stay there. But in between that, you can stay there forever. On the soul plane, it's beautiful, incredible, and if you want any kind of a normal reality, it's probably one place you would stay and be happy for infinity. Not like you're sitting there talking to your mother and father, your uncle, your cousins, forever. You don't want to do that. You had multiple lifetimes, multiple families, multiple children to say that I'm going to stay with the last ones I had. So that means your first love that you ever had when you came down into this world, you don't even care anymore. People don't even go back in time with their thinking. What they were, why they came here, and what was happening when they first came here. I'll tell you my truth, whether you want to hear it or not. I was here in Atlantis. Atlantis was the only time the world was at peace with itself. People were in peace with each other. We didn't talk. We didn't use a lot of words. Didn't have to. Couldn't cheat, couldn't steal, couldn't lie. Didn't eat meat. It was a totally different space. I can compare it to a movie, and I'll bring this up a lot. The Time Machine. He goes backwards and forwards in time. When he comes to the civilization, they're all dressed in white. They're all eating fruits by the river, and it's beautiful. But then this noise goes off, and they all walk towards this wall. Some people go in, the door closes, and they all go back to eating and partying and doing whatever they were. Watch the movie. It's kind of real in a lot of ways. But if we get to that point, so other people get jealous. And that's what happened to Atlantis. 2 alien races got jealous of this planet. Jealousy, for a word, I couldn't describe what an alien feels when they say that word, but they didn't like the idea that we were what we were. Most alien races have no feelings and emotions. They can say words and stuff. You can't hurt them. Oh, that hurt. Oh, you can't do things like that to aliens. They're not caring about how you feel if they cut your hand off, stick something up in your eye or whatever. They're not caring. They're not loving. And remember, love wasn't here for a long period of time. Love is not the answer for anything. I mean, all you hear, all these New Age speakers, conversation with God. I dealt with him many times, and I dare him to come on a show and debate me or let me debate him. Because I'm tired of people believing the lies. You got something to prove? Prove it. I'm going to tell you straight out. Unless you learn how to leave your body, you didn't learn anything about soul. Soul has nothing to do with the body. Not its feelings, its emotions, or its thoughts. Mind has its own program in it. Everything, about 90% of everything you do is based on mind's programs. And they're programs that start when you're a little child. Soul's aware of many things. Future minutes in the future, past, and everything else. So when you have this nudge, well, don't do it, and the other one says do it, that's mind versus soul. Something that everybody needs to learn to translate and understand for themselves which one's which. Because in a split second, one thing tells you to jump out the window, the other one says, no, get under a table, you have to know which one you're supposed to listen to. It's either the first or the second one. For me, it's the first. A lot of people, it's the first. Sometimes it's the second one. Because mind jumps in and says, oh, do this. And then you got it. Then the one says, no, this is what you have to do. But it's learning to listen to yourself, to what soul is saying. Soul is you. It's not the body. It's not the mind. When you're in the soul awareness, you perceive many things much greater than you could possibly do through the mind. Now, when you leave your body, and if it's for a short period of time, no matter what your experience is, you're going to come back into the body. And when that happens, the mind tries to translate what just happened. It's like showing a baby a football game. Ask the baby what it meant. Does the baby have any clue? Of course not. Why not? Because it's not programmed enough to understand the program. Same with the mind. But if you look at it as no, I'm mind, your mind is useless. All right. So somebody text me. Okay, cool. Let me get rid of that. All right. It's usually an attack. Okay, here's the thing. Truth and news. I want to get into that. I want to get back to that. And we'll get back into this as well. The world wants peace, right? No. If we did, we would find it. You want to get a degree, you go to school. You want the truth, you look for it. You don't accept the lies. But if we all have a different God, or no God, or think with God, how do you think they're going to agree on anything? And that's based on religion. Religions all have their belief. To say that we can't be prejudiced is the most ridiculous statement. It's saying you can't be real. You have to fit the program we're creating. We're all one people, are we? One what? One bunch of fools, ignorant people? I know some people might tune in, tune out real fast. That's your choice. I'm not here to entertain people. I'm not here to feed you lies and stories. I'm here to help you look for the truth. The truth. The truth. Not, oh, the truth is different. No. Everybody looks at truth and accepts what they want of it. A small piece of it, more of it, or all of it. But the truth is solid. It doesn't change. God is God. Lucifer is Lucifer. So when you deal with things, it's programs at many levels. Oh, I wanted to just I go around in circles. I had a lot of serious problems when I was young, and they didn't help us with dyslexia and all those kind of words. I see things backwards. I talk and I put events backwards. Native people speak backwards. They put the opposite part of the sentence in the front and back. But getting back to spiritual people claiming things. Angels are one thing, all right? How many people meet angels really? Oh, I met Michael and Gabriel today, and they told me, what? Get a different job, go out and buy a new car. Unless you're Muhammad and you meet with Gabriel. Gabriel says, well, here's 36 rules, laws, whatever they were called, gospels, whatever. If you ever read them, what Muhammad was taught when he created Muslim teachings, every third one contradicts two before it. Oh, talk to everybody. Oh, don't talk to everybody. Be with everybody. Don't be with everybody. I mean, every one of them was contradictory. Was he talking to Gabriel? I truly doubt it. The first time he met him, supposedly, he didn't know who it was. His brother told him who it was. Oh, it's Gabriel. How did his brother know who he was talking to? Because he was a being telling him stuff? So then automatically, Muhammad said, okay, it's Gabriel. Do you challenge anything you meet ever? Alien, being, entity, good, bad, or indifferent? And you should. Now, in the inner world, which is different than the physical reality, and I'm telling you a fact, no being, entity, can say they're God on the inner worlds. They can twist the phrase into, I am all that you search or seek, I am everything that you want, I am everything you need. They can say a lot of things. They cannot directly go against God itself. That's God's law, not man's law. Man's law is twisted, molded, and can be rearranged anytime. God's law is different. If something comes to you and you're afraid of it, in the inner world, you can challenge it in the name of God to be gone if it's not of God. And it will be. That's simple. I did exorcisms. It's easy to chase spirits out of a body. If you're dealing with the higher self and God and everything else, but if you're not, priests died doing exorcisms. The original movie, The Exorcist, 2 priests died trying to do an exorcism on one boy. Another movie was a girl, but it was a boy, really. But the Pope hired 1,500 people to do exorcism 2 years ago because they couldn't keep up with it, they couldn't do them. But when you read a book and say, now I can do exorcisms, a book isn't awareness. You can believe what you read, but it doesn't make you aware. It doesn't explain who Jesus was. It doesn't explain what Lucifer was, the devil, or Satan. And they're not the same. And mankind likes to take all those things and squeeze them together. Now, the same as Mary Magdalene. They took the worst stories and put them together. But she wasn't the sleazy whore that was almost stoned. She wasn't all the lies they put together to make out who she was. Mary Magdalene was a goddess of a temple. Really. Jesus spent the last month of his life with her before he was killed. I was there. I was a female. But the things were, the disciples did not listen to Jesus. They were the ones, not all of them, some of them, were all the ones that helped kill Jesus. He told them to their face they're going to turn against him, and they all swore they wouldn't. And they did. But Jesus said to them, give your life for God, you'll have eternal life. And they weren't even willing to do that at the moment. Am I? Any given second, I would give my life to God. In a split second. Anything else? No, but for God, yes. I walk my truth in God's name, not anybody else's name. Not Jehovah. Jehovah was a god of the astral plane. Satnam, god of the astral plane. Lucifer, god on the astral plane. He's the high archangel, the highest. So when people talk about things, they don't even know what they're dealing with. Oh, he's so bad. No, he's not. God has him there for a reason. Lucifer doesn't allow junk to get into heaven. And neither does Satnam or any of the gods. There's only 3 of them there. And they don't let beings from hell get into heaven. It's simple. But mankind twisted mode. Oh, no, we're not in hell. Well, where are you? Where you live on a planet, you call it heaven, and you see a little kid get beat up, chopped up, stolen to slavery, sexually abused, all those things, and you're in heaven? Your place of heaven is pretty sickly and immoral, whatever the word is. All right. The news we hear that brainwash us to believe what we believe in. I call it news. You can call it books. You can call it speakers. When you hear news or so-called truth or stories, and you try to decide, should I accept it? Should I believe it? Maybe you want to believe all this stuff. That's cool. But if you're really going to believe it, make sure that it's real. Do you really? And the closest people around me believe a lot of horrible, stupid, ignorant things. I just pulled off of a show because I couldn't stand these people coming on and telling these fantasy programmed ideas of reality, which they supposedly came from. Even if it was partially true, is it going to help you or me? Of course not. If there's 100 races on Mars, is that helping you or me? If we plan on going to Mars, are we all going to be friends with all those alien races? And what are we going to do there? What are we going to create? What is the goal of creation? What great idea can you come up with to make the world a better place? Take all the rapists, murderers, killers, and sick people off of it? And then you got a perfect world? No, you got people perverted and twisted into the sex thing. This is hell. Nothing super positive is growing and creating a spiritual reality on planet Earth. Now, I just looked up, there's 9 people claiming to be God. Jesus. 1 person claiming to be God. One of them's in Russia. He created a community. He's got 300 people there. He's got a temple built. You can't drink, can't smoke, can't curse. And you got to live by their foundation of their truth. It's a cult. God's not that. Jesus was not that. So when people do things in the name of somebody else, you better know who you're using in the name of that. Conversations with God. I challenge him. I'm waiting for him to say, hey, look, let's talk live on the air. He won't do it. He lives in fantasy world. Most people do. Jesus said, love is the answer. Think God said that? The answer to what? A marriage? A relationship? Oh, every relationship, when they start up in love and they fall out, oh, well, love just disappeared. It faded. I just thought the girl was prettier. I mean, the reasons are horrible why it breaks up usually. And when it comes to love, love is 100% giving with 100% receiving from whoever you're supposed to be in love with. If that's not the scenario, it will never work. Sure, people could stay together 20 years, and people 20, 30 years are breaking up. Why is that? Because they realized they were living a lie that whole time. You have to live in truth and follow it, and make sure you stay within that, and you will find your way out of this realm into a higher realm. It's simple. If you give in to the lies, the teachings, the beliefs, the programming of anybody, anything, you will never see that or understand it. You will be. Science is trying to prove black holes. Really? And they're planning on jumping to a black hole to get into another dimension. That's what they want to do. Is it going to help you and me? Well, I want to jump into the other realm. It's like people say, I want to get abducted and go. Go where? To what planet? And what are you going to do when you get there? Have a normal relationship? Oh, no, but I can see. And how long is it going to last? Watching them land their ships and send their ships out into space. What are you going to do? Go to school and learn how to drive one of their ships? Is that going to make you a better person? Is it going to teach you about love? Of course not. Everything man does pulls us further and further away from what love is. Taking away morals is the starting point of the downfall of the human race. We tried to hold on to them, the United States, but we lost it. Japan's creating a new reality where they can clone animals and humans together. That's going to be a perverted idea, but it's not going to work in the future. They're going to play with it for a while and might create some kind of creatures for a while. And the story that I want to bring out in the near future about what happened to the Mayans and the Aztecs has to do with them trying to inject soul into the human body. Their souls do not fit and vibrate within the body that we have. And the mind started dying. That's the beginning of it. And the proof and all that's behind, which I'm going to try to bring on the air. But we need to look beyond all that. That's not going to help us. No alien race is going to help us. That's here. That's working with. I'm not saying one could come from a distant galaxy and see that everything's hell and try to straighten it all out, have the power to do it. But the ones that are here, we got 8 races that are bad, that are here. And the problem with bad and good, bad can do whatever they want. And they do. And you hear these twisted programmed ideas, they cannot interfere. Of course they can. They've been abducting people for how many years? That's invasion of our space. They've been taking people from this reality. How many people know where they go? I'm telling you, all races that have a body, creatures that have a body, only need one thing. You can say sex because it keeps them going, but what keeps them alive? Food. Whatever dimension, whatever realm. If you have a physical body that breathes air, drinks water, guess what? You need food. So why do you think any race goes to another planet? To find better resources. What, more people that think better than we think? When they don't have feelings and emotions, they're going to help us understand love and relationships? You know, we have sunken so far. And now, with the worst things happening, and call me prejudiced. I love the word prejudice. We have to be. My God's better than your God. You heard that phrase? Well, if you don't have a God, my God's better because you don't have one. But what is your God? Do you have a clue? You want to challenge my God against your God? What does your God have to offer? Protection. From what? Death? Disease? Sickness? No, it doesn't. The Bible story of God was created by Moses. He wrote a third of the Bible. He was a very hardcore black magician. But people, oh, we can't say it. Why not? When he came off the mountain, he had 2,000 to 3,000 people killed. Then he walked his people around in circles until they all died. But see, people don't understand simple things, what's really going on. Moses didn't understand it. I mean, in the Bible it says he wasn't allowed into the promised land, because he got mad. Oh, really? If God put everybody in hell because we get mad, nobody would ever get off this planet. Nobody. But there's many things that are going on between that whole scenario. But where are we going? Do you have any ideas of ways to make this world better? Well, we all got to unite. Unite sounds great. Take a Muslim and a Christian and put them in the same room and say, you have to believe what I believe. When I go to heaven, I'm going to be with a bunch of big-breasted women, and I'm going to have sex for a week at a time. That sounds cool for a person that's into sex, but it's not cool for a person that's into God. So, the scenarios of the truth that's here, not what we want to believe in, but the actual truth that we are dealing with. You got to breathe to live. You got to drink water to survive. Period. You can say, wish, and think, and pretend, and say, well, that's your truth. It's the truth. There is a truth, and there are lies. 99% of everything else is a lie. What you have to do in life, why you have to do it in life. How many people have a clue to that? News goes on about ridiculous things. And what's the news based on? Pain, suffering, disease, catastrophes. Oh, and then they'll throw in a story about saving a cat or a dog from a sewer or from the ocean or whatever. I mean, they try to win your sympathy and then feed you this horrible story. Well, the school was shot up today. This post office was shot up today. Or this. Are we really that bad? Yes, we are. But it's all based on programming that started a long time ago. Gladiator days are no different than today. I'm sure they didn't get paid $178 million to beat somebody up. They got the freedom to walk away. I mean, when the two fighters last year, and hold on, let me just stop my dog from. Come on, you want to go? Come on. Sorry about that. I'm gonna let the little guy go. So he's out there barking his head off. Religions, morals, and egos are serious problems for us, and we really have to learn how to balance that out, understand them, and let go of them. All right. When I talk about truth, how do we know if the news we hear on TV is real or not? Well, they're showing you a video of a boat sinking. Obviously, it's sinking. Why? How? Now, the last ship that sunk, how many people died? And you know who got off the boat? The captain and the mates. I think that's a perversion. You know the ship, the captain's supposed to go down with the ship. He's jumping off while all these people are stuck in their rooms drowning. I think that's pathetic. I think it's like selling out to yourself and to God. I mean, if your brother was in the room next to you and it was on fire, would you try to get him out of it or just run away and say, well, hope he gets out? Same as the Dalai Lama left Tibet. He knew he would have been killed if he stayed there. But what's he doing? Telling the world to be at peace and all that. Is it helping the world in a great way? People believe it is. People believe a lot of things are helping. And I say, you know how you can tell if things are helping? Look at the real world. 7.2 to 3 billion people. See how they live. See what's happening in other countries. Why is every other country in turmoil, fighting, and horrible belief systems about sex and marriage and all those things? It's so twisted out there. And you think we're moving forward. And the United States isn't the highest population anywhere. You know that, right? So go to a country which has the biggest populations, with the most starvation and everything else. Do these children have dreams? Can they? What do they dream about? They're dreaming that they're going to get a meal to eat for the day to survive. And if you can go home, sit in your $1 million house, $1 billion house, drive around in your $1 million car, gold-plated, whatever, and think you're a good person? Well, I donated $1,000 or $500,000 to the school. Really? I guess they don't understand Jesus at any level. Even if he wasn't God, which he wasn't, but what he taught and what he did and what he showed people. It was more about God, what he was teaching, not more about forgiveness and all those words. You don't get forgiven for what you do. You have to pay it off, work it out. So I'm kind of bypassing a couple of things because I'm trying to stick with the truth. How do you find it when it's out there somewhere? But how do you find it? You know, when you're looking outside, you're not looking for the truth. You're looking for everybody else's truth. Going inside yourself. All right. Battling your mind. It's called the dark night of soul. Fighting the dragon. There's a lot of way different religions deal with it, call it. But it's letting go of that program. Facing the truth of who and what you are. But you have to understand that to be able to deal with that. And know that that's what you want to attain, because if you get stuck in the dark night of soul, it'll take you out. You need protection. Protection is an important thing, but not the way people perceive it. God watches over me. Really? And that's why a car just smashed you and killed your child or whatever. I mean, people assume protection means what they want it to, like everything else. Well, it means what I want it to mean. No, it means what it means. And man created most words, so it's man's programmed ideas of what the person that wrote what spiritual means. You think he knew? The person that wrote what God was, Moses, no. Did he know? The burning bush? Really? I have a picture I shot of a burning bush. Seriously. That wasn't really burning. I filmed it in California. It's on it's in my website. I shot some incredible pictures as well. I was with Sargel. We shot more pictures of ships, creatures, entities, orbs than anybody else in the United States. I know James Gillen has a lot of people coming out there shooting pictures, and he claims the rights to all of them. And he's right next to an Air Force base and an Army base, and wherever there's an Army base, there's always UFO base. But the real pictures of him standing there with an alien, where's that? I know he showed me a picture of a 45-foot alien. It's called a hologram. But, you know, people take the little bit they get and they mold it into whatever they can to make it as big as they can. Read some of my books. I sent my first 2 books out for free. How to See God, my first book I wrote. When Truth is Called Crazy. And that's my biography of my life. Most of it. A lot of stuff, my hardcore stuff in my life. But my new book, which is just out there recently, The True Teachings of Jesus, I call it the most important book I ever wrote, or will write. Because it's the only thing that matters. Because when we believe what we're doing is beneficial to the world, the universe, or anything, a telescope's going to make us better people. The food we create is toxic at every level. You know, we go on about what aliens can do for us. They're contaminating the world. Do you understand that? And you need to. And then the next question you have to ask yourself, why would they do that? They don't think like we do. And races want to live here, but they can't because it's not to the conditions that they live at. Reptilians, the draconians, even the Greys are radioactive. That's why the world's going to become super radioactive, because they can live here. You think the government doesn't know that? All right, I'm going to tell you the truth. You don't have to believe it. This isn't about whether you believe it or not. I'm just putting it there for you to try to work it out. The government has been cloning Greys for a reason. They need sacks to put them in, to grow them in, just like aliens do. And that's why there's so many mutilations going on. But they're creating them because when the world becomes toxic and nothing can live above ground, they'll send the Greys out to redo the things they want. It's really quite simple. All right. The Greys that they were dealing with, they had to kill most of them because of their leader, EB, which was the one that they did take from Roswell. 3 ships went down in Roswell, and they only talk about one of them. They were shot down. They weren't mistakenly knocked down. Germany, I don't know. I know that they were trying to build ships and all that, and they never came up with anything important. Now, Russia, Putin himself said a lot of important things a couple months before Trump got elected, which nobody listens to. I wish I would have put that in document. I didn't care. I didn't know, we didn't know Trump was going to be president at that time. But he said, I want Trump. Putin said this on Russian TV. I want Trump to come out and tell the world what really happened at 9/11. Then he said, I want Trump to tell the world what's going on with aliens and what they're really doing. Trump, you think Trump's going to do that? Well, let me just finish. Then Putin said, we are dealing with 37 races. Putin said that. Putin said 2 of the races want to destroy the planet. If that's true, that means they were already having war with alien races, which we have had too as well. You don't have to believe it, because nobody out there is going to tell that or bring their stories out. I mean, when you're talking about saving the planet really versus make-believe, it becomes a lot different. And then they didn't eliminate alien races, so that the fear is right there next to us. And they don't want the world to live in that kind of fear. And if they do, they would release that. If they wanted to put the world in fear, they would just tell them the truth. And then nobody would do anything more. Drugs would go up, killing, suicide would just escalate until the end. So when people say we want disclosure, really? Maybe what you do in your closet, maybe, but not about what's happening to the real world. Do you believe anything about 9/11? Why? Everything's a lie about it. Do you know, I was there, I was on a roof a week after it happened in New York City. The smog was horrible. I was gagging. I was leaving Jersey to go to California, and I couldn't wait to leave. And then all those people that died, got sick from it, that are still dying from that. You better think what really went down. If you care about life and where we're going to move, if we can't deal with the truth, how can we move forward? All right. There's many things that are going on. Like, the year I was born was 52. That was the year UFOs went over the White House. They weren't Russian ships. They weren't German ships. A fleet of UFOs did, twice in a week. Truman and Eisenhower, a couple years apart, all were working with the idea, what are we going to do with these aliens? How can we work it out with them? And they did. And their plan wasn't good for people. But then again, the government was trading information. The United States only does things for something back. Why they let Tibet be taken over China. They could have helped Tibet keep Tibet. But no, they didn't want to start a war with China, so they let them take over Tibet. It's fear of weakness, and it's a weakness of truth. Give your life to God, you'll have eternal life. Try to hold on to it, you'll lose it. And we're losing it because we're not giving it to God, we're giving it to our ego. So you don't want to believe in God? Fine. Do you want to be in peace? And how do you know what anything is on this planet if you don't believe in a God? There is no right or wrong. And if you want to believe that, what makes you think anybody could agree on one thing? Never mind bring alien races down that have a totally different way of thinking and everything else. We're going nowhere. And everything that we're talking about is not helping us. Fake news is bombarding your mind day and night. The salespeople selling you things on commercials day and night. It has nothing to do with reality, peace, and love, and any of those words. Remember they were going to release a box that cut out commercials? They never did that. Then they were talking about how, I call money-hungry fools create what we have. Paid TV. I'm going to pay for TV. Why? So I don't have to have commercials. And I can watch the whole movie without it being cut up. And needless to say, most of that's not true either. We pay and we have commercials. Are people really that brain dead? Talk is cheap. Speakers are expensive. These UFO people that go to these conferences get paid $20,000 to tell you what they think. Oh, we got an artifact that shows this. Oh, I think this. And you're going to pay them that kind of money to hear their stories. Well, you get conditioned into seeing their face on TV every day, on a History Channel, Learning Channel, whatever it is, and you believe them. But how about every day? How many times do you see Trump's face? And here's the thing. I get, 100 emails a day, roughly. Trump is going to get impeached. We're going to impeach Trump. Oh, Trump's going to get reelected. Trump's definitely going to get reelected. Then we have to hear stories like Ivanka suffers wardrobe malfunction. Really, like that's an important situation in all this. Can a person sue a company for that? It's just a joke. For the clothes that they made? How about the ignorance of the people that dress themselves? Like when Jackson, when she dropped part of her wardrobe, whether it was real, whether it was a mistake, whether it was publicity. I mean, all those little things. It's called publicity, whether people want to admit it or not. I mean, somebody's in a bathing suit. Here's an incredible, sexy, blah blah blah, and she's in a person's in a bathing suit. Like, did you ever go to a beach? Try it sometime. You'll see women in bathing suits. They exaggerate the stupidest things, make it sound like it's an incredible, horrible thing, and expose you. You ever go to a nude beach? So what? Do any people there care at all? See, it's the programming of the subconscious of people, and they accept it. And I'll tell you this, goes against what else we're talking about, but aliens, when they abduct somebody, and people might not like to hear this, but if you get abducted, meaning taken out of wherever you are and put on a ship, and then they play with your body, they implant you, and they also program you. They can program you with whatever you want. The United States government can program anybody they want with whatever they want as well, including like the Ashtar command. All right. Sorry. Yes, again. I got a fan blowing on me. Think about that. A program means, well, we got you here. We're going to make you think you went to La La Land and you sat there with Cinderella and you were flying around on a magic carpet. They can tell you anything you want and you'll believe it because it's being programmed. I worked with hypnosis when I was 14 years old. I know what you can do with it and what you can't. You can do anything with it. Not that you can't. You can hypnotize a person to do anything you want them to do if you can hypnotize them. I can't be hypnotized. But if you can be, you can make that person do anything you want. You don't tell them you're going to go kill somebody. You tell them there's a bad entity. They're taking on the form of this and you're going to kill them. I worked with an army hypnotist who taught me how to do different things. And yes, when you hypnotize a person, and people don't understand this, you hypnotize everything around that person, including the beings and entities around you. And we have them all. We have both around us all the time. So when you do that, any of these things can speak to that person. Oh, I was the Queen of Sheba. I was this. I was that. An entity can say whatever they want. They just like the idea of talking and twisting somebody's mind. But once a person's hypnotized and they're not protected, and this person's not a spiritual person, which very few are, or understand who they're working with and protection that they bring into the situation, is how bad it can affect the person being hypnotized. Bud Hopkins worked with many people, and he didn't get too far down the road. My best friend worked with Bud Hopkins, was the first person he worked with for a year when he became famous. I worked with her I knew her for years. She was with Sergeant 18 and I, who was his girlfriend. And we went out and I did work on her and she would let me hypnotize her and stuff. I found out a lot of stuff about being abducted and things like that, but she's not afraid of aliens. She goes, they never really hurt me. So we got different things going on when we say hypnotism and we can make them tell or find the truth or see their past lives. You hypnotize entities, you'll get a lot of past lives. Whether they're yours or not is a different story. You have to find your truth by yourself. And I'm going to say this, and it's kind of contradicting what I just said. Some drugs, if you do it once or twice, can help you open that vortex up and allow you to do it. Don't say I told everybody to go out and do drugs. No, I'm not saying that. But ayahuasca is one way they do it. I mean, even Como, if you can find out what that means. Do it once or twice. It can help you. If you can't get to the point of getting out of your body, being able to experience anything. But But be careful and always have a guide or a protector around you. I mean, a physical person. Uh, and know your weaknesses and know your positive points, because you need to know who and what you worship and idolize or pray to and all those kind of words and what they mean to you. If you have anything, well, I'm God, I don't need anything. Well, you're not going to get nowhere. You're never going to find the truth. You're not going to find it by yourself. That's for sure. The matrix is so complex, and you'll get pulled into multiple realities. You could believe every one of them is real. And they are at some level. But do you have to stay there? No, you don't. I didn't get very far into what I wanted to talk about today. But I really wanted to do a show today. I didn't do it in a couple of days, and I got to keep going. I would like to get into some real important teachings, which I will. But I think the next one might have to do with the truth that I want to bring out about what's happening to the Mayans and the Aztecs and why, and the proof that's out there right now. Because it goes against a lot of things. Because people think the Mayans were spiritual. People think the Aztecs were spiritual people. They were not. No race was spiritual. Hinduism was sex. It was sex only. Where is spiritual and where is love in any of that? There was none. Do you understand that? Well, I hope you do. Think about it, because I'm going to go into that in detail next time. I kind of put a lot of stuff out there today, trying to keep it pretty much in the same vein. But think about a couple words. Morals. What are morals to mankind? We don't have any. The United States had a few. We don't even have them. Allowing yourself to become male or female, give yourself any kind of name you want, and go anywhere and do anything you want. I mean, it's all conditioned, programmed ideas, accepting that we're less than what we are. You're a male or you're a female. You had past lives in multiple realities. I mean, you might have been a male or female in different lifetimes, and that's why you were aware of it. And that's what you might like to relate to. But to change the body that you are in, to work out the karma that you have to work out, and try to change that, you're not changing your karma. So, I kind of, all right. So with that, I'm going to end it today. It's nothing's as you're told it is. Hawaii is not as beautiful as you think it might be. The same as Jersey's as beautiful as you want it to be. I mean, you can create, make, and believe, or pretend, and wishful thinking, anything you want. But the reality is, you are where you are. And sadly to say, that's called planet Earth. Where we are, planet Earth, okay? In the physical dimension, and the lowest realm there is. So hopefully you might realize there's many places to go way out there, or way in, however you want to relate to it, to get away from this reality. And it's worth it. Because when you do, every realm that you get to after the astral plane gets incredible. And once you experience that, nothing can replace it ever. Nothing. You already let go of all the programmed ideas of what's right, wrong, and what's important. The passions of the mind and all those things. But when you get into these other realms, what you see and what you can do is way beyond conception, the idea that the consciousness could accept. So with that, I'm going to end it today. I hope you got something out of it. Again, my email is hawksblood1@aol.com, HAWKSBLOOD1, at AOL.com. Anybody wants my first or second book, I give it to them for free. If you just send me an email, I'll send you an ebook. My new book, I don't even have it that I can send it as an ebook. I wish I did. I got to figure out how to do that yet. I'm not here to make money, and I don't know how many years I'm going to be here, and I'm not trying to push people to buy anything. I just want to give people the truth. And if they want to listen to it, they can. That's all. And I'm not going to charge you great amounts of money. I want to do a workshop. I plan on doing that very soon. I'm just dealing with a lot of weird things and stuff that I don't want to get into. That's earthly stuff that's really bad. And until we get that organized, I want to do this workshop. I want to do like a 2 weeks in a row, Saturday and Sunday, and get into teachings, real teachings, and things that soul has to learn in this physical reality. Not too many people can teach that. Even reading a person's aura is critical. Finding out your past lives and all those little things help incredibly. So with that, may your world be what you want it to be, and I'm sure it isn't, but try to live in it and know that it's not the end. This isn't the highest you're ever going to be, and hopefully you'll move to a higher place somewhere in the near future. All right, love, compassion, whatever you need in your life, hope you get it. Till next time, which will be soon. Because like I said, I didn't get too far today. So, till next time.